How many of you went through the story of rebirth? You have the story of the phoenix. And as beautiful as the story is, it's also not a good one to have. Hi, my name is Ruth, and I'm here to help people find the power within them that unfortunately many of us have forgotten. The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel Van Der Kolk. Trauma interrupts the plot of life. What is trauma? Trauma is an imprint of an experience on our body and our mind. It's a constant cycle until we break it. Trauma changes our perception. How many of you have met a person who was just very pessimistic? There's always negativity. It's not because that person is wrong or bad. It is because this person is going through and carrying their trauma with them. Trauma changes our perception. We are in a state where everything is danger. We go into our defense mode, where we are now reacting. As we react, we tend to do things that we are not proud of, that do hurt the other person, and it brings us shame. It feeds our trauma. It will continue going forward until we stop and we choose a different path. There are triggers, reminders. Everybody overusing that word, triggered. Triggers are 5 senses that we have that reminds us, that bring us back to traumatic event that occurred to us. And those 5 senses, the hearing, the sight, the smell, the taste, and the touch. Something occurred. Maybe it was a sound or that smell or the word, or somebody touched you and you went into this place where it was very uncomfortable, scary, anxious, anything that brings the feeling of that negativity and feeling of the going into survival mode. It's not because something is wrong with you. It is a reminder of the trauma that occurred to you sometime in the past, and usually it happens during childhood. Usually, not always. Trauma takes away our imagination as well. Who thinks imagination is not important? If that's what you think, maybe it's the trauma talking. Imagination is a very important tool that we have as human beings. Imagination helps us with pain. Imagination helps us with connecting with people, helps grow our intimate relationship. It helps us see the future, bring hope. Without that, we have no future. We have no hope. We have no goals. How many of you right now feeling like you're floating in the air as like a plastic bag? There's no purpose. You don't know what's going on. You're just there. There were moments in my life where I literally felt like I'm just floating. I don't know where I'm going. And I thought that's the part of life, and I thought that was okay, and I thought is fine, and this is how it is. But in reality, it is because I haven't faced my trauma. There is an example that's written in the book. Dr. Van Der Kolk took 21 soldiers from Vietnam, and he showed them Rorschach test. 16 of them saw wartime events, so it was bringing their memories. 5 of them didn't see anything. So what does it tell us? It tells us that most living of memories of that trauma, or the few, don't see anything at all. There's no imagination. Many people, when they're not dealing with the trauma, they're ignoring it by numbing, keeping busy, and disconnection. How many can say I have an addictive personality? I can. I used to be addicted to video games, believe it or not. But this is what we usually do. Numbing is finding anything you can do that takes away that feeling of discomfort that trauma brings. So it could be drugs, alcoholism, food, video games. This is actually one of the biggest problems we're having right now, the addiction to technology. The other one is keeping busy. This is usually after breakup, but how many of you had somebody tell you, advise you, just be busy. Don't think about it. Just keep yourself busy. I had a lot of people after breakup, would tell me, just keep busy. Don't concentrate on it. Don't concentrate on it. Just keep busy. Keep yourself busy. But what does it do? It's preventing you from letting this emotion run through you and accepting it and moving on. You can't escape it until you face it. The way you deal with trauma, it's through it. If you're numbing, you're not dealing with the trauma. You're just numbing away the pain, numbing away discomfort, numbing away loneliness, whatever it is that is discomfort, you're numbing it. Keeping busy is the same way, but you're just keeping busy. My mom is like that, always on the go, always on the go, always on the go. That also can lead to very traumatic sicknesses and disease down the road. Another thing that we do when we're ignoring it is we have this disconnection. We tend to disconnect ourselves and isolate ourselves. How many of you cannot connect with anyone you meet? They have to have some kind of experience that you went through for you to feel safe to share. I have most of my old friendships are based on connection through trauma, because I meet a person who had similar experiences in their life, and it's like, oh, well, your dad abandoned you too? Bestie! But when I meet someone who is okay, they don't have any kind of trauma, and they're literally just people, happy people, I look at them and I'm like, what's wrong? Something is wrong. You're here to get me. I don't trust you. Look at the world nowadays. We are literally disconnected from each other. One group, the second group, the third group. Everybody's against each other, disconnected. You're not going through the same problem I went through. You ain't my friend. Why does it matter whether I went through the same problem you did? For us to connect and communicate and create friendship. And until I asked myself, why is that? I would have never figured it out, and I wouldn't have gone into the journey of finding and learning. Talk about learning. During the Vietnam War, the professional education for therapy taught talk therapy. Talk therapy is talk about their trauma for them to finally be okay with it, but it doesn't do anything. And what it actually does, it brings the person back to that moment of traumatic event. And that person is literally reliving that moment of their trauma. So talking about your trauma is not going to help you without going through the proper way, proper channels to release it. They also were very misinformed. The textbook stated that there's not much traumatic events occurred, there's not many people who are going through pain, but it's not the case. Incest abuse was way more higher than the textbook led to believe. Literally, children being sexually hurt within their household. It happened. Rape was higher than textbook led to believe. 50% of rape victims were under the age of 15. He also found out that literally 10 children to 1 soldier abroad during Vietnam War were abused in their household. Their home wasn't safe. 10 to 1. Then they over-medicated people. How many of you are on meds right now? How many of you actually asked whether you should be even on them? Remember, we're over-medicated. Now, I'm not telling you to stop, but all I'm asking you is to question that. I have a friend who is on him, and anytime he gets off, he starts to feel the negative emotion and he can't handle it. He has to get back on it. Is it something that you cannot really handle, or is it the trauma is still there and it's gonna continue on being there until you deal with it right way? Remember, numbing. It's literally like a band-aid over the wound. But the wound won't really heal until you open the band-aid and expose it to oxygen and allow your body to naturally heal. This is what we have forgotten, that we can naturally heal. We have that power. And my mission is to remind you that you have that power. So like the video, share it. If you think this is gonna help someone, please share it. Sharing is caring. And subscribe. I'm gonna keep on going until the book is over. One more thing before I let you go. I want you to remember that you are powerful. Together, we can create a better future. It is the time. This is the time to wake up.